Hi everyone, and welcome back to Cardiac Radio for Teens. For those of you who might not know, Cardiac Radio for Teens is a place where teens can come together with other teens and learn about Spiritist teachings and topics in a way that makes more sense to us and is more relatable to us as teenagers in today's society. So, for years now, we've been reading through the Spirits book, and we've been going through it question by question, page by page, to understand, not everything, but to have a basic understanding of Spiritism and what Spiritism is about. And of course we know that you can't just read this book one time and understand everything. You can't even understand maybe 50%. Maybe if you understood like 25% of it, that's great. If you understood the basics, then we can read it again, read other things that supplement it, and we learn more on top of that. So it wasn't meant for us to learn everything or to know everything, but for us to get a basic understanding and a basis of Spiritism that we can grow off of. And now, for the past 2 weeks, we've been reading through the conclusion. So at the end, they just kind of sum everything up and they put into the conclusion, and hopefully we can finish that today. So part 5 of the conclusion. People who say that Spiritism is threatening to invade the world only confirm its power by making such a statement. An opinion that is not based on both reason and proven facts cannot become universal. Therefore, if Spiritism takes root everywhere and converts every member of society, including the educated class, it is clear then that it is founded in the truth. As such, all the efforts of its detractors are in vain. In actuality, the ridicule thrown at it by those attempting to stop it seems only to have given it new life. This fully justifies the reassurance that is given constantly by the spirits, who have repeatedly said, "Do not be discouraged by the opposition. Whatever they do against you will turn to your advantage, and your most bitter rivals will serve you in spite of themselves. The hostility harbored by individuals is no match for God's will." So here they're saying, and we saw in the other parts of the conclusion, that they're talking about people who are against Spiritism, or people who see Spiritism as a threat. And some people are saying here, they're saying that people are saying that Spiritism is going to take over the world. It's a threat. It's going to take over. But if it's going to take over the world, if it's invading the world, that means that people are believing it, that it's true, right? That it's proven and has reason. Because think about the only things that everyone agrees on. And still then, sometimes people don't believe it, right? Like, when they thought the earth was flat, but then they realized it was like a sphere or an ellipse. So they're thinking, okay, now it's a sphere. Now almost basically everyone believes and understands that the earth is not flat, right? So when we see that, that means that it has to be completely true. It has to be proven facts and have reasoning behind it. Because or else, how would everyone come to terms on it? Especially in the society we live in today, where people don't agree on things a lot of the times. So if everyone agrees on one thing, that means that it must be really true. So they're saying if Spiritism were to take over, that must show that it truly is the truth. And the other important part that they're saying here is that don't be discouraged by the opposition. So basically, in terms that we would say, it's like, the haters are going to hate, right? So they're going to hate, but it's about what you do, how you react to that, how you build off of that. Because think of it, if you never had to deal with any enemies or any people who went against you, it wouldn't be that hard to do what you wanted to do, because you would always be pushed forward. But there's going to be these people who are going to push you back, who are going to question you and not believe you and become a rival. But they're going to do what they're going to do, and you just have to worry about yourself and doing the best that you can do, right? So we don't have to worry about those people. Don't look at those people that are the people that are hating and the people that are going against you, because that is to help you become stronger, right? Help you push through all of those things. And sometimes these people who are like rivals or oppositions, sometimes they actually help you to become better and refine what you're doing, because maybe they'll say something And you'll realize, okay, maybe they think that because we don't explain that well enough. So then we can go and explain that better so they can't say those things that they were saying before. They at least have a better understanding of what they're saying, even if they're still going against it. So it's really, even though it seems horrible, those people are there to help us, to push us, to motivate us, and to help us do better, right? So we have to not go down to their level and fight back, but do the best that we can do. And then they continue. Through Spiritism, human beings enter a new phase, that of moral progress, which is the inevitable consequence of this belief. The rapid spread of Spiritist ideas should be no surprise, due to the profound satisfaction they give to those who accept them as more than just futile pastime. People desire happiness above all things, so it is not surprising that they would willingly embrace the ideas that make them happy. So here they're talking about the growth of Spiritism, right? How Spiritism is growing incredibly amongst humans because they said this isn't a surprise because more people are accepting Spiritism and accepting what it's teaching because they're starting to come to those realizations on their own. They're starting to be like, oh yeah, I believe in this, and then they find Spiritism who kind of just puts their beliefs into words. And the same thing is people desire happiness, right? And Spiritism shows us how we can be happy, right? It gives us the guidelines, how we're going to get to that state of perfection. We're going to go through sufferings, but we have to do the best we need to do to get to that state of happiness. So Spiritism gives us that guide to happiness, so that's also another reason why it's not surprising that Spiritism is spreading and being accepted by many. Then they continued. The development of these ideas has 3 distinct phases. The first is that of curiosity, caused by the strangeness of the phenomena produced. The second, that of reasoning and philosophy. The third, that of application and consequences. So here they split it up into 3 distinct phases, which we've seen happen and we've talked about, but not in this good categorization. So the first, there's people who are curious, right? They think, what's this belief, this quote-unquote religion that is talking about these spirits? What does that have to do? So people are curious, right? They're interested. What are the turning tables? So they see these curious things and they're just observing. And then once they get past just like entertainment and observing, they start looking for more, for reasoning, for philosophy, for the why of that's happening. Then once you find that reasoning and that philosophy that Spiritism gives us, then it's about the application and how we're applying that to our lives and the consequences we're going to face from that, whether they're good or bad. And we've seen that a lot through this book because it's not just about doing, we can read this book all we want, but it's about applying it to our lives, right? Which is why it's good that we read only a little bit each week, because then we can work on that specific little bit every week and hopefully keep that with us throughout the other weeks. So then they go to talk more about it. The period of curiosity has already passed. When satisfied, the mind is often immediately drops a subject for another, which does not apply to subjects that spur serious thought and appeal to reason. The second period has already begun, and the third will naturally follow. The progress of Spiritism has been partially rapid, since its essential nature and scope have been more accurately understood, and because it touches our most sensitive quality, the desire to be happy. This is the reason behind its wide acceptance, the secret of the strength that makes it triumph. It causes those who understand it to be happy, while they await the extension on its influence to reach the masses. How many individuals are there who, despite never having witnessed any of the physical phenomena of spirit manifestation, say to themselves, aside from these phenomena, there is the philosophy, which explains what no other theory or belief system has ever explained. That philosophy offers me, through arguments based on reason, a rational solution to problems that are the most vital importance to my future. It gives me tranquility, security, and confidence, while delivering me from torments of uncertainty. In comparison with this, the question of the physical phenomena is second of importance. So here they're saying how that period of curiosity where we're just looking, just because we're interested, we're not really sure what's happening, that has already passed. Now we're in the part that we're going through this reasoning and this philosophy, right? We're trying to understand more of these things. And here they're saying how this is attracting to people because, again, we're reaching that desire to be happy, right? Everyone desires, in the end, to be happy. And even people who might have a wrong perspective on that, people who want money, people who want fame, people who want fortune, they want those things because they want to be happy, and they think that those things are what's going to make them happy, which is not, which we know it's not correct, because those material things is not what's going to make us happy in the long run. But it's the same principle, right? Everyone has that desire to be happy, and they might have different views of what's going to make them happy, but we all have that desire. And then they continue. For people who attack it, do you have the means to fight Spiritism successfully? Offer something better in its place, and find a more philosophical solution to all of the problems it solves. Give people another certainty that makes them even happier. You must understand the meaning of the word certainty, because people only accept what appears to be logical as certain. You must not satisfy with simply saying that something is not so, which is much too easy to do. Rather than just denying it, you must prove facts, showing what we assert is not so, has never been, and cannot be. So here they're saying to the people who are going against it or who are attacking Spiritism, don't just attack, but give us something better, right? Like, if you give us something better and it's truly fantastic, amazing, it's 10 times better, then okay, we'll believe it. We'll accept that your thing is better, makes more sense, more logical. But if you can't prove with certainty that it's not only that it's that Spiritism is not good or wrong, then you need to also prove the better solution, right? Because it's not enough to just say, oh, that's wrong. But why? What can we do instead then? What part of it's wrong? How do you know that? What's your logic, your certainty that is not true? And then they continue. In addition, you must show what you have to offer in its place. You must prove that Spiritism does not make people better, and consequently happier, by promoting the practice of the purest evangelical morality, a morality that is praised so much yet practiced so little. When you have done this, you will have earned the right to attack it. Spiritism is strong because it is based on religion itself, God, the soul, and the rewards and atonements of the future. It shows those rewards and atonements as the natural consequences of material life, and in the picture it presents of the future, there is nothing that even the most logical mind can discover to be contrary to reason. What compensation can those who deny the future offer for the suffering of the present life? They base their teachings on skepticism, while Spiritism is based on trust in God. Spiritism invites everyone to happiness, hope, and true solidarity. The alternative is a future in which one is reduced to nothing, with only selfishness to serve as consolation. Spiritism explains everything, and you explain nothing. It proves by facts, as your assertions are groundless. How do you expect the world to be divided between these two doctrines? So here they're saying, if you're going to attack Spiritism, or if you're going to attack anything, this is a good lesson for anything. If you're going to attack something, make sure that you have all the backup, all the reasoning, and not just saying, oh, because it's not true. That's not backup. You need to have facts and proof that it's not, that something is not what it says. So in this case, that Spiritism is not what it says. Spiritism does not do this. Spiritism is not. So you need to have that accurate proof and logic if you're going to attack someone and go behind someone, because maybe, not in this case, but if someone's really wrong and you want to tell them you're right, then you want to come to them with reasons why. You want, even though they might not accept it, you want to have your backup, because or else why are they going to believe you? So the same thing's happening here. And they're saying, prove these things that Spiritism say aren't true, and we'll believe you, we'll understand, we'll take into what you say. But if you're just attacking with no backup, then that doesn't do very much. And now we're on to part 6. Believing that Spiritism deserves its strength from physical manifestations during meetings, and that debunk those manifestations can bring out its downfall, is to oversimplify this theory. Its strength lies in its philosophy, and particularly in its appeal to reason and common sense. In ancient times, it was the subject to secret studies, carefully hidden from society. Today, there are no secrets, and Spiritism is out in the open, without ambiguity, mysticism, or allegories that would be skeptic to false interpretation. The time has come for the truth to be told and understood by all. Far from being opposed to enlightenment, this revelation is intended for all human beings. It does not require blind acceptance, but urges everyone to take stock of their own beliefs as its teachings are based on reason. It will always be stronger than those that are based on annihilation. So here what they're saying is that some people are saying, some people's attack is that Spiritism is kind of brought about in meetings that are secret. So they're saying Spiritism is coming in secret, so how do you know what's happening in those things? But now they're saying, sure, in ancient times, it was a secret study because it had to be hidden from society, because society wasn't accepting that. But today, there's no secrets, right? It's out in the open for everyone to see and to everyone to look at without any questions or doubts or anything like that. So, or false interpretation. So they're saying, so people used to think that Spiritism was kind of like hidden away and kept in secret, but now it's very out in the open, so there are no secrets. Because we know Spiritism is not about someone blindly accepting it, right? I don't want to say, oh, this is what Spiritism is, so you should believe it. You should convert, like, quote unquote, convert, and you should believe in the Spiritism because I'm telling you and that's it. No, you want to maybe give someone the Spirit's book and let them read it and let them come to understandings on their own. Because it's not about blind acceptance. It's about understanding and it clicking with you and realizing, oh yeah, that does make sense. That is what I want to believe and that is what I want to study more. Can obstacles intended to stop their production block Spiritist manifestation? No, because these efforts only excite curiosity and desire to study a forbidden subject. If spirit manifestation were the privilege of a single individual, they could easily be ended by simply preventing that person's actions. Unfortunately, for our adversaries, the production of these manifestations is an inherently capability of every single member of society, from the poor to the rich, from the greatest to the least, from the mansion to the hovel. The prohibition of their performance in public would have little effect, as they are most successfully produced in private anyways. Since anyone may be a medium, how would it be possible to prevent a family in the privacy of their own homes, people in the silence of their own rooms, or even prisoners in a cell, from communicating with the spirits in the very presence of those who try to prevent them from doing so? If mediums were forbidden to exercise their ability in one's country, how could they be stopped from practicing it somewhere else in the world, since mediums exist in every nation on earth? Half of the human race would need to be incarcerated in order to have any chance at silencing all mediums. Even if it were possible to burn all the Spiritist books in essence, they would immediately be reproduced because their source is beyond the reach of attack, and it is impossible to imprison or burn the spirits who are their real authors. So here they're saying that, what about like these mediums, like that that are kind of doing their own thing? They're saying you can't stop people from studying on their own, right? Because we know, okay, in the center things are secret, it's all at the open, but if you take the book and you're sitting in your home, there's no one to stop you. If you're a medium, there's no one to stop your access to things, your communication with spirits. And they're saying, what if a country banned mediums? First of all, how would they even control that? And second of all, what about all the other countries? Because there are mediums in all countries. Even if they may not have that same name, or they might not even realize it, like we know in the past, some people who were mediums were just seen as crazy and were put into like insane asylums. But we know that there are mediums all over. So what would happen to all of them, right? So they're saying, even if you wanted to be like, no, Spiritism's all wrong, you burn all the spirits books, it's just going to come back, because we can't attack these authors, because these authors are high order spirits, right? They're unreachable for us, right? There's no way for us to attack them. They will come back and write all these books again. So Spiritism really is here to stay and to make an impact. Spiritism is not the work of one single individual. It is as old as creation itself. It is found everywhere, in all religions, and even more so in Catholicism than any other. The Catholic religion contains everything that constitutes Spiritism: the existence of spirits of varying degree, their secrets and open relationships with people, guardian angels, reincarnation, and the emancipation of the soul during sleep, second sight, vision, and manifestation of every kind, apparition, even including tangible apparitions. As for demons, they are nothing more than bad spirits. With the exception of the belief that the former are doomed to wrongdoing forever, as the path of progress is never closed to anyone, the only difference that exists is in terminology. So here they're saying that Spiritism, it's not one person that made Spiritism. It's not Allan Kardec that made Spiritism. It's not even just the few spirits that made Spiritism. It's everywhere, right? It's found in all religions. We can see things that relate back to Spiritism that are just in different terms. Like they're saying here, the only thing that's different is the terminology. Because if we look at like the Catholic religion, all these things add up, besides the words, sure, but all these things are adding up. Even the demons we know as bad spirits. The only difference we see is that they believe that these demons, these bad spirits, are going to be bad forever. And we know that they're eventually going to progress. But besides that, these basics are all the same, just with different words. And we see that with all different religions. All different religions have these different ideas that come down to the same root, right? The same core, and we just have different words for them. What does modern Spiritism accomplish? It makes a whole of what has been scattered about in pieces about explaining, in clear and precise terms, what has been, up until now, shrouded in allegory. It eliminates the products of superstition and ignorance created by people, leaving only reality intact. This is its mission, of which there is no founder. It highlights and coordinates what already exists, but creates nothing new, because its elements belong to every country and every age. Who can flatter themselves by believing that they are strong enough to stifle it by ridicule or persecution? If it were possible to destroy it in one place, it would simply reappear in another, or even in the exact same spot from which it was banished. It exists in nature, and no one can liberate a power of nature, or veto God's will. So, here they're saying how Spiritism, it's getting these bits and pieces that are in all these religions and bringing them together and kind of combining them all to make sense and put them into terms that go together, right? So everything that's been scattered and been explaining on different ways, Spiritism brings it all together and puts a clear meaning, right? And another thing is that in a lot of these things, they're allegories, right? people are teaching things in short stories or in different terms that make it easier to understand, but Spiritism is getting those things and putting it into what it actually is. So there is no founder of Spiritism. There's not one person, right? We know Allan Kardec was the one who codified the books, who got these messages from the spirits, but he did not create Spiritism. And even those spirits did not create Spiritism. It's been there. It's always been around us. It's just been about getting it all together, right? And putting it into this doctrine that we now study. And even if people were able to destroy Spiritism, it would show up again. Or if people were to banish it, it would show up again, because we know that it's not one person. We don't need Allan Kardec to come back and recodify it, right? We know that we can still get that information from the higher order spirits and from those all around. So even if it was banned or gone, it would easily come back. And then they continue. What interest could anyone possibly have in opposing Spiritism? These ideas are an objection against the cruelty and mistreatment that spring from pride and selfishness, which are profitable to the few and harmful to many. Therefore, Spiritism would have the masses on its side, while its challengers would be those who support the abuse it opposes. By their influence, these ideas make people more compassionate towards one another, less greedy for material possessions, and more submissive to God's design. It guarantees order and tranquility. So here they're summing up and saying, why are these people going against Spiritism? Because it is, again, about becoming better, about happiness, right? About taking away pride and selfishness, about being less greedy, and being more submissive to God's designs, right? It guarantees, here they said, order and tranquility. So they're saying, why are you going against just because some things may seem a little crazy at first, or might seem a little out of the ordinary at first? It really comes down to just the desire to be happy, as we've seen, right? And we know Spiritism can bring us that and can bring us this order and tranquility. So that's where we'll leave off today, and we still have a few more sections of the conclusion, so we'll finish that next week. But before we leave off today, I'd like to read our message from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone for today's date, February 5th. This one's titled Parenting. Be gentle with the young. We live in a fast-paced, demanding world. We expect a lot from others, and they expect a lot from us. This is fine for the world of adults, but it can be a problem when we force similar high expectations onto children. While it's important to teach children how to behave properly and get along with others, we should keep them actively stimulated. We should never forget that they are still children with tender hearts and minds. I sometimes get impatient with children. Today I will make a special effort to reach to them with gentleness rather than impatience. If at all you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, feel free to email me at kardecradioforteens@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you right away. I'm Bia, and this has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening. This has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.